What is up, guys? Today we are working on the Corolla again. I'm so stoked that this thing runs great. If you didn't see the last video, we put a Weber carb on it, and man, it is insane the difference that it made. It actually idles now and it drives up and down the road, and that is awesome. I've got a manifold gasket to put on it to get rid of that horrible exhaust leak, and I've also got one more thing that we're gonna do to the engine. Check this thing out. Now, I would love to tell you that I got this because I really care about the spark that this thing's gonna get, and that I care about the performance it's gonna offer, and that stuff's good, but I'm gonna be really honest with you and tell you I only got this for one reason, and that is electronic two-step. The MSD6AL2 has electronic two-step, and it popped up on Facebook with a blaster coil for like $300, and I was like, gotta do it. I had to. I didn't have a choice. It's what I had to do. So today we are going to install this MSD6AL2 and this blaster coil, assuming it will even work, I don't know. And we're going to play around with some two-step, hopefully get some pops, get some bangs, get some revs. It's gonna be sick. Like I said, we're gonna be putting the manifold gasket back on as well, and that should pretty much cover us for the engine. We'll do some more exhaust work later, but once this thing's in, we'll be ready to go back to body work and get this thing painted and looking awesome. I'm so stoked. Now, I do realize, I realized the other day that we have not actually gone over a cost breakdown for this car. I'm calling it a budget build. I'm telling you guys that I'm only spending $3,000, but I haven't actually showed you that yet. So let's do that very quickly. All right, get ready, buckle up. It's gonna be fast. Ground control, coilover suspension. I didn't pay them anything for this because they sponsored the build, but if I were to have bought it, it would have been $250. And then the Coney shocks that are inside of there, I paid $240 with, so $490 for the front suspension. Rear suspension was blocks, $40. This front lip I made from something I already had. I can't really place a price on that because it was just in the garage and it wasn't part of the plan. I just wanted to make something custom. The fenders were $220 shipped. The fender mirrors came with the car, so that was free. The car itself was $750. But I actually got it on a flip, so it only cost me $100, if that makes sense. If you want to know more about that, I'll post a link to that video in the top corner of this one. Under the hood, we've got a Weber carb that we just installed. That cost me $250. I've got $10 on this manifold gasket. Wheels and tires. Most expensive part so far, I think, $400 for the wheels. I paid $280 for the tires. And then this MSD ignition, which I really didn't need, but I think it's gonna be so fun, and I think you guys are gonna really enjoy it, was $300 for the 6AL2 and the coil. Not a great deal, but I'm happy with it. I'm not sure what that brings our total to. I'll put it right here. I think if I added it up right the other day, it was like $2,400, $2,600, somewhere in there. Either way, I'll throw it up right here. That's how much money we have left to work with. So we are getting very close to our $3,000 budget, and you'll notice the car's still not painted, so I'll be showing you guys what I'm doing with that. We're gonna be reusing some stuff, and I think it's gonna be really cool. All right, that's all for the budget. You're caught up now. Let's get to work. I don't know anything about this. I didn't even know why you would need one until I ordered it. I just wanted two-step launch control. I know that's so silly, and some of you guys are gonna think I'm silly for saying that. Silly. It's such a dad word of me to say. Silly. I use it every day. But it's worth it to me, and I know there's other benefits, obviously way more important than two-step, but two-step's fine. All right. Oh, big stickers. Just big stickers. All right. We'll throw those in the sticker pile. I'm gonna take a little while to read these instructions, make sure I know what I'm doing, and then we'll get back to videoing. I looked online, there wasn't a lot of information, which makes me think that these are really easy to install. We will see. Sad story. I knocked one of these little mounts off and I can't find it. I tried cleaning up a little bit. There's no telling. So maybe it'll show up, maybe it won't. If it doesn't, I'll find another one. But for now, we're gonna mount everything with 3 of them, and I think it's going to be fine, maybe forever, but definitely for now. There we go. That's a pretty cool little mount. Yeah, I'm happy with that. The only thing I wish I would have done differently is I wish I would have put this after a bend. So instead of leaving this flat, bent this back and then bent it back up, because this is going to sit off of there, which means there'll be a gap here. Maybe I can just wrench it down. I don't know, but overall, really happy with it. It's really strong. The shock mounts will keep this from shaking around too much, the MSD. And it bolts in factory mounting points, which I'm trying to get better about. I mean, I do like drilling holes in cars, but when you can use factory mounting points, I mean, they're already there. So I'm gonna use the same bolts that were holding that sensor that I don't know what it was, and we'll put this in there. If that sensor is important, let me know, because I've just got it sitting in my passenger seat. Let's go. This should slot down into here. All right, there we go. So this is my mounting spot for now. The good thing about using stock points is if I remove it, you won't even be able to tell it was there. So it's not like I had to drill holes. And I say that because I'm gonna use it right here so that all my settings are easy to get to. I've got all my settings up here. That's why it's mounted upside down. Once I get it set and I don't really have to change it or tinker with it anymore, I'll probably move this inside or out of the way somewhere different. Now, that may not be the case. I may just leave it here. I'm not really sure. But if this ever gets on my nerves being right here, then we'll just move it. That's easy. All right, I think the next thing I need to do is get the coil installed, which is going to go right here. This is the original coil. And it's got this that I don't think I'm going to need anymore. So I think I'll replace this whole unit with the new coil. And I think this is going to control anything that did. I think. You notice I'm using the words I think a lot. I'm not super confident about this job. I know I can get it to work. Hopefully I can get it to work the first time. So I'm gonna do some research on this, try to figure out what all this is, and then decide what to do, because I'd like to just stick the coil right there as well. All right, so yesterday we got both MSD parts installed. They're both completely removable. It uses all the factory hardware, so I'm pretty stoked about that. The wiring diagram for the MSD is on the back, and I don't want to pull it back out to look at it, so I'm going to pull one up on my phone and reference that as I go through this wiring process. I think that everything I pulled out of the car is going to now be controlled by the MSD box. I'm not entirely sure about that because I don't really know what I pulled out of the car. So we're going to wire this thing up. We'll test it and see if it still works. I think it's going to. But as far as wiring goes, I think it's as simple as just connecting everything together. I might have to get a switch. I need a switch for the 2-step, and I don't have one. So I've got to go to an auto parts store anyway to pick up my gasket for this car. So I'll just grab a switch while I'm there. But before that, I'm going to wire this thing up.
What if we pull the bumper off today?
We don't need to.
Why?
We're gonna leave it on for now.
Okay.
Okie dokie artichoke.
Okie dokie artichoke. I'm gonna go out and put Cammy and Mommy outside.
Alright, bub.
I'll see you.
See ya. And with that, I think we are ready for a test fire. So I wired the purple and green into the distributor. I think that's where they go. I ran a switch power to the MSD 6AL2. Black and orange wires went to the new blaster coil. I've got to wire the coil. I wonder if this will just pop on there for testing purposes. But I think that'll work just to test it, and then we'll probably do all new wiring. The last connection is the battery. This is really simple. It doesn't look that simple with all the crazy wires and stuff, but I've been checking myself like every single step because it's so simple and it just doesn't seem like it should be. But I think that once I connect this thing to power, we should be ready to test fire and see if it works. Let's try it. right, so I gotta test the rev limiter, right? So we're gonna let it run so it gets warm. I just realized I forgot to tell this thing how many cylinders we have, and it's probably set to 8.
Hey.
That is frustrating, man. I did get this off Facebook, and it makes me think like maybe there was an issue with it. I could call them. I bet they have customer service. Yeah, I'm just installing a 6AL2 on my car, and I'm on the phone with MSD. You can see that there's supposed to be a dial here to let me pick my cylinder number, and there is not.
Press 1 to be redirected back to the skill queue, or continue holding to reach this agent.
Frustrating.
MSD.
Yeah, I just installed a 6AL2 on my car, and I went to set the, oh. Okay, well. I guess I'm on my own. I'm gonna play around with this and see if I can figure it out. Alright. It appears that maybe the dial's been replaced. Maybe unprofessionally, I don't know. I messaged the guy that I bought this from. It was new, and he hasn't responded yet. So, what I'm gonna look at, I mean, this is something that I only have to set one time. So if I can get it to the right cylinder, then we're good. And I don't know that it's not there. So it's kind of a bad situation. I'm wondering if maybe the guy got some like returns and sold them as new. Maybe this was returned because of this situation, or maybe it's a reman, I don't know. MSD seemed very confused and were not super helpful since I didn't buy through an actual dealer. So it looks like I'm on my own, which is okay. It's gonna be fine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to unbolt this thing, and I'm going to pull the cover off and see if there's a way for me to manually switch to 4 cylinders with the cover off. Got the box out, and on the bench there are some Allen screws here that I'm going to bet will get us in. Crap. That's no good. So these were screwed into something inside of there, and now that thing is moving. Jeez, man. What a mess this has become. You can hear it, listen. What a mess, what a mess. Alright, I'm going to try to figure this out. It would appear that I've made a very serious mistake pulling whatever this is off. And I don't know how I'm going to get it back on. It seems like it must be installed before they put this plate on, and this plate is not a removable thing. It also, I went outside and looked, and it also looks like my dial is in there. It's just been replaced, or it's different, I don't know. Which means I've caused all these problems for myself, and I think that I don't even have a problem in the first place. I'm going to take this outside and try to line that up and run a screw into it. I don't know. I'm going to take a break. That's what I'm going to do. I did it. I got it. Oh, yes! Wow, okay, back to square one. Let's see if we can figure this out. So it turns out that there is a dial in here. I couldn't see it because it's really bright white. Everything else is off-white. And because it's so bright, you can't actually see the little dial. But I stuck this little screwdriver in there, was able to spin it around, and I think I have it set to 4 now. Now, you notice the second time we started this thing, it was really hard to start. I think that was because the cylinders were set to 8. That would make sense to me. So we set that to 4. We're going to throw it back in the car again, and hopefully this time everything works. That was cool. Alright, so I just got back from the store. I picked up my gasket, which came with some weird like foam insulator things. I hope it's for the intake side because I've never used those before. but it did come with an intake gasket as well, so we'll just save that. And I got this. This is a little toggle switch. I wanted a switch that you had to like hold, you know, like spring-loaded one that's only on when you've got your finger on it, to run the two-step. For now, this is $3. It's gonna do. So you'll have to like push it up, hold the two-step, and then drop it when you want to dump the clutch. Which I don't know that I'll actually be doing on this car. I just don't think the rear end can handle it, but we'll see. All right, so according to the internet, this metal side goes to the manifold, and the composite side goes to the actual engine. This metal side allows that to slide back and forth as it expands and contracts. That's why it's got to go on the outside. We'll just slip this over here. Sounds so mild now. So this car did not come with a tachometer. There is a spot in the dash for one that's just filled with the Toyota logo. But right now it doesn't have one. I'm guessing it was an option. The MSD ignition gives you an option to run a single wire, just electrical tachometer, which is pretty great. And so what I did is I ran the wire for the two-step and for the tachometer. It's the gray and blue wire through the firewall, and if you look close, you can see it comes up right here. So what we're gonna do now is we'll leave the gray wire just kind of where it's at. I'm gonna get a tachometer that's the right size and put it in the factory location. We're gonna get our two-step switch, find a place that I like it on the dash or underneath the dash probably, and wire that in. So that's just blue wire to one end, the red, not a red, but a 12-volt switch power to the other end, and we should be able to just run it like that. We've tested it like 3 times and everything seems to work. So that's what I'm gonna do now. I know it's a mess in here. I've got all kinds of stuff. I'll explain that after we get all this done, because there is a reason I have all this stuff in the driver's seat. So yeah, let's do a little bit of wiring. Okay, I figured it out. One of my connections came loose. Now, I'm farsighted, and on that little controller, the little arrows that tell you what RPM you're in are very, very tiny, so I'm having a hard time seeing them. So I think that was part of my issue too. But my switch came unplugged, that's why it wouldn't work. Now we have two-step, check it out. I've got it set really low, like 2,000 RPM. Now we'll turn it on. I'm gonna put you guys in the back of the car so you can hear it. The car still misses really bad at idle, which makes me think that the spark plug wires would be replaced. That's the only piece of the ignition system I haven't replaced yet, so we will be doing that at some point. Alright guys, that is it. We completely revived this engine and it sounds and runs awesome. I'm so stoked that this car is running again and that we put 30 years newer technology in the ignition system. We still got to do some things like plug wires and basic maintenance stuff, but overall it's doing great. It runs great and I'm super happy about it. Now we will take this to the next step performance wise, but for now we're going to leave it here. It drives, it runs really well. I want to get used to it at this point so I can appreciate the performance gain in the next one. Now, I think this box came out great. I'm really happy with how it looks under the hood. I'm really happy with all the wiring and how it turned out. I really think it came out really awesome. The Weber carb looks awesome as well, and it just cleans this engine bay up an immense amount. I mean, it looks so much better already. We haven't even touched it as far as cleaning it goes. In the next video, we are going to be doing body work. We're going to be getting this thing smoothed out and ready to be painted, and then we will be painting it. So my goal is to paint it a week from today in next Tuesday's video. So I've got a lot of body work to do, a little bit more rust repair, a lot of sanding and bondoing and things like that. We'll do that, we'll get it primed, and then we are going to paint it, and the color is a secret. I'm not gonna tell you what it is. So you have to keep watching if you wanna find out. It's gonna be a polarizing color. Some people are gonna love it, some people are gonna hate it, and that's okay. But it's a color that I love. I think it suits this car perfectly, and it will be a surprise, so we should figure that out in about a week. So thank you guys so much for watching the Corolla. It has been an awesome build, super fun to do. I love these old Japanese cars, old Toyotas. They just want to run. It just wants to run, and it does now, which is awesome. I will see you guys in the next video. Sunday we do have another Datsun video coming out, so make sure you check back for that. Secret word of the week is interior, and that is because I am trying to figure out what I'm gonna do about this interior. I've got a few different ways we could go. I don't know, we'll see. I've got a week to figure it out though, so I'm gonna take my time, really run through some stuff and figure out what the best option is. So interior is the secret word of the week. Write that in a comment below so I know you watched the entire video. It makes a huge difference when you watch the whole video. The algorithm realizes that you guys like the content, and that allows me to keep producing it because it puts it out in front of new faces, in front of new eyes. So thank you guys so much for watching the whole video. I will see you in 2 days. Is there anything else I need to say? I think that's it. Yeah.